Lesson 2 is on powers and exponents, and I'm going to go ahead and start off there on page 16, where it talks about writing and evaluating powers. So, when we talk about a power, we're talking about this whole thing about repeated factors being used to obtain a product. And that has two different parts. So if we say we've got a 2 with an exponent of 4, 2 is the base. That is what is being multiplied together how many ever times the exponent tells you. So the exponent is 4, so that means that you have 2 multiplied together 4 times. So 2 to the 4th power is how you say that. So when we look right here where it says read and write powers, anything to the 1st power, we would say 3 to the 1st power means we have 1 3. A lot of times whenever things are to the 1st power, you do not see an exponent. So anytime an exponent is missing, you assume that it is a 1 because you have one of them. Okay, the next one, base of 3, exponent of 2, 3 to the 2nd power, or 3 squared. 3 to the 3rd power. Can also say 3 cubed. Now, 3 squared and 3 cubed, the only ones that have the extra, maybe a little special name. So 2 is squared, 3 is cubed. All the rest of them are just to that power. Okay, so 3 squared, 2 3s. 3 cubed, 3 3s. 3 to the 4th, 4 3s. 3 to the 18th, meaning that you would multiply 18 3s together. Be really huge. Okay, let's look at the examples here where it says write each expression using exponents. Write each expression using exponents. So whenever we have example 1 here, it says -2 times -2 times -2. We have, times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So we have 3 -2s, 3 -2s, and 4 3s. So since these -2s are in parentheses, you need to go ahead and keep them in parentheses. Go ahead and keep them in parentheses. And you've got 4 3s, so it's -2 cubed, or -2 to the 3rd power, times 3 to the 4th power. Number 2, this doesn't have any numbers in it, but it's the exact same kind of process. So if we have 2 a's, that could be written as a squared. We have 3 b's, so that is b to the 3rd power, or b cubed. So I want you to go ahead and try a, b, and c right here. Pause it, and I'll give you the answers. So for a, if you have 4 1/2, that is 1/2. And we're putting this in parentheses because we don't just want the 1 taken to the 4th power. We want all of it. So it's 1/2 to the 4th. For b, we have 3 4s. So that's 4 cubed, and we have 2 5s, so 5 squared. And the last one, no numbers, but we do have letters. We have 3 m's, so m cubed, n squared. And usually on the variables, it doesn't matter which one you go first. Traditionally, they do write them in alphabetical order, but I would say it would not be wrong if you switch those around. Okay, moving on to the next page. Maybe. There we go. Example 3. Evaluate -2/3 to the 4th. So whenever it says evaluate, that just means it actually wants you to do it. So it wants you to take -2/3 times -2/3 times -2/3 times -2/3. Now, from our work with integers, you know that anytime you multiply 4 negatives together, an even number of negatives, you will have a positive answer. So now when we multiply fractions, we just multiply the top times the top times the top times the top. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 16. 3 times 3, 9 times 3, 27. 27 times 3, 81. If you need to go off to the side and work out 27 times 3, that would be perfectly fine. So I want you to try D, E, and F. D, E, and F. Pause it while you try them, and I'll be back to give you the answers. So for D, E, and F, for D, our answer is 256. You've got 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Multiply all that out, you would get 256. -2 to the 6th power means you actually have to take -2 times -2 times -2 6 times. And when you do that, you will end up with a positive 64. And this one, it's 1/5 times 1/5 times 1/5. So 1 times 1 times 1, 1. 5 times 5 is 25 times 5, 125. So 1/125 would be your answer. All right. Next example here. The deck of a skateboard has an area of 2 to the 5th times 7 square inches. What is that? So it actually wants you to put that in standard form, just as a regular number. So I want you to multiply that out. 2 to the 5th, got 5 2's times 7. 2 to the 5th, if you work that out, it is 32. 32 times 7, 224. 224. So you can try that right here. 2 to the 3rd times 3 times 5 squared times 7. So multiply 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 5 times 7. Should come up with something 4,200 square feet. 4,200 square feet. Okay. Let's look at the next part where it talks about evaluating each expression if A equals 3 and B equals 5. A equals 3, B equals 5. They want you to put these values in for A and B. So wherever there is a letter, I always tell my kids to put a parenthesis. So if it's A squared plus B to the 4th, I'm going to put something in for A and square it, plus something in for B and take it to the 4th power. It said that A is 3, B is 5. So 3 squared, 3 times 3, 9, plus 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So we've got 5 times 5, which is 25. 25 times 5, which is 125. 125 times 5, 625. And again, if you have to go off to the side and work that out, that's perfectly fine too. So add those two together, you would get 634. Next one, A minus B squared. Order of operations say you have to do what's inside of the parentheses first. So you've got A minus B, so 3 minus 5, negative 2. So it is now negative 2 that is squared. So that means negative times a negative is a positive, and it is a positive 4. Positive 4. All right, top of the next page, I want you to try under where it says got it. I want you to try those examples. Try those examples and pause it. Try those, and I'll be right there to tell you the answer. After, of course, you try them. So for H is 17. H is 17. I, 125. Remember on I, you have to do what's inside of here first and then take that number and cube it. That number times itself 3 times. J, 715. 715. So D cubed, so 9 times 9 times 9, minus, and then you have to do this part here first. C squared, so negative 4 squared, minus 2. Negative 4 squared, negative 4 times negative 4 is 16, minus 2 is 14. Okay, and then subtract those, you will get 715. All right, so on guided practice, using exponents, negative 11 times itself 3 times, keeping them inside of parentheses. Negative 11 should have been a parenthesis right there. Let me fix that real quick. Negative 11 cubed. 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. We've got 3 2's times 3 3's. Come on. Number 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 r's. So r to the 5th times 1, 2, 3 s's, s cubed. Evaluate each expression. 2 to the 6th means that you actually multiply this out 6 times. You got 6 of them. These 2's are not wanting to cooperate. So 2 to the 6th power, 64. Number 5, negative 4 to the 4th means negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4, 256. 256. I'm going to go ahead and write 64 in here. And number 7, 1/7 cubed. 1 times 1 times 1, 1. 7 times 7 times 7, 343. 343. Okay. Last section down here. Let's skip to number 8. X squared plus y to the 4th. X is 2, y is 10. So we've got 2 squared. 2 squared. Let's scroll up here a little bit. So we've got 2 squared. 2 times 2, 4. Plus 10 to the 4th. That would be a 1 followed by 4 zeros. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. Got 4 of them. So that would be 10,004 would be your answer. This one, x squared plus y, and then cube it. So x squared, again, is 4, plus y. That part is in parentheses. And then cube the answer. So really what you have is 14 times 14 times 14. 14 times 14 times 14. That is 14 cubed. And you will get 2,744. Okay, that's it for the lesson. So if you have any questions, make sure to ask me first thing tomorrow.